And is UKIP united? I mean, you were there with Nigel Farage, been calling for each other's head over recent days.
No, not at all. There are no differences on policy, no differences on leadership. Unsurprisingly, for a party that has not achieved what it hoped to achieve, there are questions about tactics and about tone. But these are things that all parties need to address if they've not managed to win the seats that they wanted to win. And I think it's right that UKIP looks again at its tone and makes sure that it's more persuasive. Yes, we got 4 million votes, great, but there are 27 million people who didn't vote for us, and we need to do more to reach out beyond our base.
What, in your view, do you need to do?
Well, I put a lot of emphasis in Clacton, both during the by-election and the general election, on things other than just European immigration. And the manifesto that we produced, I think, was a brilliant manifesto because it put more emphasis on the sort of bread and butter public service issues.
Do you think people take any notice of that?
Well, the messaging needs to be better. By definition, the messaging needs to be better because we only got 4 million votes. And I think, you would be daft as a party having only won one MP not to work out how to do things better.
But if we look at it from here, where does UKIP go? I mean, does it replace Labour?
I think so. I believe that in the north of England and the Midlands, we can do to the Labour Party what the SNP has done to the Labour Party in Scotland. It's become, the party of Keir Hardie has completely lost touch with its founding purpose, which is to champion the interests of ordinary folk. It's become a party of corporatism, a party of the elites, and I think it can be displaced by a free market party that believes in the individual, believes in dispersing power away from elites. And the way to achieve that is through electoral reform, amongst other things.
And if that referendum happens and Britain votes to stay in, is that the end of UKIP?
I don't think it is, but, I'm in politics because I want to get us outside the European Union. So I'm absolutely determined to make sure that in a year's time when the referendum comes, we achieve an outvote. But the way to achieve the outvote is to recognise that there will be people out there who are Eurosceptic but have doubts. And we've got to speak to those doubts, and we've got to make a positive case for Britain leaving and explain why Britain will be better off once we're outside the European Union.
And given all you're saying about organisation, why won't you take the money to help the party organise?
Well, several reasons. I just feel it's not right to use a set of rules devised 40 years ago when I was... Well,
that's the electoral system as well, you have to use
that.
No,
you've got to take personal responsibility, Adam. If you've got a system that entitles you to take £2/3 you can't just say, I'm taking it because it's within the rules. You've got to take some personal responsibility, and you've got to say, look, the system was never intended to give a single MP, a single front bencher, if you like, and backbencher, that sort of money. And you've got to be prepared to say no.
The party that got nearly 4 million votes, I mean, surely...
Okay, Adam, if you can find out a way where I can credibly employ 15 people for the role of 15 different front benchers as a single MP and not
well, you've got to represent all those roles.
But you can't do it. You can't be 15 front benchers, and because of that, you've got to be prepared to say, "I'm sorry, well, we're not taking this money." And we talk about making politics more accountable. We talk about reducing the cost of politics. Well, here's a start. Here's a contribution. And a lot of parties talk a great game in opposition, but when they get into office, they tag along with the system. I think UKIP has to say no to taking this short money, and we have to be prepared to say, do you know what, we're going to do things differently.
OK, thank you very much, Douglas Carswell.
Thanks.